A single piece of economic news can send ripples way out into the future. So today, let's dig into a pretty concerning headline and listen for the economic echo it just might create. So this is a pretty stark warning, right? It comes from a recent Reuters report, and it's pointing to a big slowdown in the U.S. labor market. And it makes sense. When the future feels uncertain, companies get nervous. They start to hunker down, they slow their hiring, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now. That same report revealed the U.S. unemployment rate has hit 4.3%. That's a nearly 4-year high. Now, I know it's just one number, but a figure like this is so much more than a statistic. It's really like a vital sign for the entire country's economic health. But what happens after the headlines fade and the news cycle moves on? Well, today's job numbers send out an echo into the future, and that echo can tell us a lot about what our society is going to look like tomorrow. This isn't just about jobs today. It's about how wealth is distributed a year from now. To really understand that echo, we've got to look at a key tool that economists use called the Gini coefficient. The easiest way to think about it is as a society's inequality score. The higher that number gets, the wider the gap between the wealthiest and the poorest people. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. The data shows that when unemployment goes up, it doesn't immediately show up in the inequality stats. Instead, there's this consistent 1-year lag. It's almost like the economic pain from losing a job takes about a full year to ripple through the whole system and actually appear in the national data. But how do we know this isn't just some random coincidence? Well, statisticians have a neat tool for this called the Pearson correlation coefficient. Think of it like a score from -1 to +1 that tells you how in sync two things are. A score close to +1 means they really do move together, and this analysis gives us a number, R, to prove it. So if we look at 20 years of data from the US, we find a correlation, that R value, of 0.68. Now, in statistics, that's considered a really strong positive link. It means as unemployment goes up, the Gini coefficient reliably follows suit about a year later. And that 99% confidence level, that tells us there's only a tiny 1% chance this is all just a random fluke. We can be pretty darn sure the link is real. All right, so this pattern is clear in the United States. But is it just an American thing? Or does this economic echo pop up in other big economies too? Let's take a look. In Japan, the connection is, wow, even more powerful. The data shows a correlation of 0.73, which is even stronger than in the US. And get this, a 99.9% confidence level. That means the odds of this being random are literally 1 in 1,000. The 1-year echo here is absolutely undeniable. And over in South Korea, what do we see? The exact same 1-year pattern. Here, the correlation is a bit more moderate, at 0.52, but it is still very much statistically significant. And a 95% confidence level means we can be really confident this is not a fluke. The connection holds true across these different economies. So the main takeaway here is pretty clear. Whether that link is moderate, strong, or, very strong, this 1-year echo between a jump in unemployment and a later jump in inequality seems to be a reliable global economic pattern. So let's bring it all back to where this conversation started. Let's talk about this number, the 4.3% unemployment rate that was just reported in the United States. Now, with everything we know about this global pattern, we can actually use today's unemployment number to make a pretty informed prediction. The steps are clear. We see the rate go up this year, we factor in that 1-year delay, and from there we can forecast the likely impact. Well, this powerful statistical link strongly suggests that the rise in joblessness that we're seeing right now is very likely going to translate into a wider wealth gap next year. You could almost say the economic story of 2025 is writing the first chapter of the societal story for 2026. And this is exactly why understanding this pattern is so important. I mean, this is not just some academic game. It actually transforms a news headline into a predictive tool. It gives us and policymakers a window into the future, a glimpse of the social impacts of what's happening in the economy right now. So at the end of the day, this means we should look at unemployment numbers as more than just a report on how the economy is doing in the present. We should see them as a forecaster, a leading indicator for the future of inequality in our society. It's like a warning bell for what's coming down the track. And that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty provocative, thought. If we know what's likely coming, that gives us the chance to act. If we can reliably predict this echo, the real question becomes, what are we going to do in that 1-year window to maybe change the outcome?